How is it going, everyone, and welcome back to another Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. And in this video we're going to be ranking off the worst hero abilities in Star Wars Battlefront 2. I've seen a lot of you guys over the past few months asking for this, and I've had some experiences playing this game recently that have led me to want to make this video. Now, just because a hero ability appears in this video doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. These are just the worst of what the hero abilities have to offer. Now, excuse some of the low-level heroes in this video. I did switch platforms fairly recently from Xbox to PC, and most of the heroes are very underleveled. So as you watch the video, just keep that in mind. That's why they're really low. Now, just before we dive into this, we did just cross 60,000 subscribers on the channel, and the goal for the end of 2020 is to hit that big 100,000. The channel has doubled in size over the past month and a bit, so a big thank you is in order to all of you who watch these videos. I really do appreciate the support, so if you are new to the channel or haven't subscribed already, then it would be great if you could consider subscribing to the channel to help us hit that big goal at the end of the year. But now anyway, let's dive right into this video. So kickstarting off this video, as the 10th worst ability in Battlefront 2 is Han Solo's Shoulder Charge. Now, this ability is the best of the worst in my opinion, because it can be very useful, but it's still got a lot of drawbacks and brings it onto this list. It is a very clunky ability, and it always has been. Most of the charge attacks like this are clunky in general in Battlefront 2, like Rey's and Obi-Wan's dash are similar in that way. But where Han falls off in comparison to those two is Han's recovery animation. You can't dodge like a Force user. All you can do is your little combat roll. It's not a bad ability, but it isn't the best, and it can be extremely situational. But in my opinion, it's the best of the worst when it comes to hero abilities. I just wish they'd do a slight rehaul on the animation of the entire ability. And moving on now to number 9 is Count Dooku's Expose Weakness. Now, I really like Dooku and think his other two abilities are very good, but his Expose Weakness ability, I just don't think it does enough. It slows down the enemy's movement and makes them more vulnerable to damage, but personally, I have never really felt an ounce of panic when actually being hit by this ability, as it's way too easy to deal with and for it to just go away. Yeah, it slows you, but unless the Dooku player who's done it to you is a total sweat, you can get away or avoid him easily until the effect of the ability has worn off. The only time that I've ever actually found this ability to be even a little bit useful is in all-out heroes versus villains spam fests. And even then, that's kind of a stretch. But yeah, I've never really been a fan of this ability. I barely ever use it anymore, as I feel like it's just pointless unless you use the ability on just terrible players or actual bots. But like I said, I really like Dooku, and I think his other two abilities are very good, but this one for me is just kind of bad. And moving on now to the number 8 spot is Leia's Rapid Fire ability. Now, this can be a fairly satisfying ability when it does work for you, but I kind of think this ability is just a total waste because I actually think that Leia's normal blaster is better. It has a bit of spread at range, and it feels like it just doesn't do enough damage, and it's just one of many ability buffs that I think Leia needs. I really don't have much to say about this ability, I just think it's way too weak and needs a buff to justify using it, as like I said, I think her normal blaster is just way more effective. So moving on to the number 7 spot now is Obi-Wan's Mind Trick. Now, I really used to like this ability, and I know a lot of people are sick of the mind trick spam between Rey and Obi-Wan in Heroes vs Villains, and that's fair enough. But in my opinion, Rey's mind trick is just way more effective because Obi-Wan's doesn't invert your controls. All it does is stop you from using your abilities. You get mind tricked by Obi-Wan and you just dodge around for a few seconds and then that's it. Despite being a mild nuisance for a couple seconds, it's kind of a dead ability. If they really want this ability to be effective, then they're going to have to take out the ability to dodge whilst under the influence. Because until then, in my opinion, it's going to be a pretty underwhelming and easy to deal with ability. But now moving on to the number 6 spot is Finn's Undercover team ability. Now, this is in complete contrast to one of Finn's other abilities, which is one of the best in the game, that being his Deadeye ability. But as for his Undercover team ability, it's just not that great. With this ability activated, you pull out the GLA-44 blaster, which is kind of meh, and you get increased speed and cover from enemy radars. This all sounds kind of great on paper, but I've never really felt the benefits of what this ability has to offer when I actually use Finn. There's a few hero abilities in this game that, sound great in theory, but just don't play out that way. And I really do think that Finn's Undercover team is a glowing example of that. You might find it useful, but for me personally, I never have. So I just stick to boosting his health with Big Deal and using his Deadeye, and that serves me pretty well. And over time, I've kind of just stopped using his Undercover team ability as much. I mean, I use it because it's there, but I just don't find it useful. So now moving on, at the halfway point of this video at number 5 is Lando's Smoke Grenade. Now this ability can be very useful in Galactic Assault to a degree, but as players have gotten smarter, I've found that this ability's usefulness has kind of run its course. Like when you use the smoke in tandem with Lando's blaster or sharp shot ability, it can make things a little bit easier for you. But in game modes like Heroes vs Villains, this ability is almost completely useless. You can pop the smoke to escape, I guess, but even then, anyone with a moderate IQ with this game is going to see the smoke and just follow you through it, or just be like, oh, Lando's over there. So it kind of makes you use yourself as bait. Like when the game first came out, this smoke screen ability was useful, but like I said, as the game has progressed and players have played the game even more and more, this ability is one of the ones that have kind of fizzled out as players have gotten smarter. So whilst this ability isn't terrible with the way you can use Lando, it's not aged well with how the player base has changed. So now moving on, at number 4 is Boba Fett's Concussion Rocket. Now this has been widely regarded as one of the lesser hero abilities in Battlefront 2 basically since the game came out. I remember the last time I done a worst hero abilities video and Boba's Concussion Rocket featured pretty heavily. And it's no different now sometime later. I still think this is easily one of the worst hero abilities in the game because it just simply doesn't do enough. If it disabled blasters as well as the ability to dodge and use abilities and, give more of a concussion effect, then we might be talking, as it probably wouldn't be on this list if it could do all those things. But it just isn't effective enough in Heroes vs Villains or Galactic Assault. I have seen a lot of people say that they just use it because it's there, and I have to say, I agree, I'm exactly the same. I just use it because it's there. But now coming in at the number 3 spot is Leia's Squad Shield. This ability has basically one use, and that's if you want to sit at the back of the map and just use secondary fire over and over again. Because if you use it in most other situations, a lightsaber can just run straight through it and get you, then you're pretty much done. It's really easy to take down if you use it in general combat up close and serves you literally nothing in game modes like Heroes vs Villains. People have been calling for a while that DICE remove some of Leia's abilities in favour of some new ones, and the Squad Shield is a big reason as to why. It just doesn't serve enough of a purpose in my opinion. And to be honest, the opinion of a lot of people that play this game. I really do hope that DICE have plans in future to improve Leia's abilities because they really do drag her down as a hero, and the Squad Shield is a big reason as to why. But now moving on, and the runner-up at number 2 goes to Leia's Flash Grenade. Now yes, I have all 3 of Leia's abilities in this video. In my opinion, they are all deserving to be in the video. Like when I was using Leia just to try and get gameplay for this video, it was just a nightmare because I couldn't stay alive long enough because she just doesn't stand a chance in most game modes. In my opinion, the only real redeeming quality for Leia is her blaster. It's very powerful, and so is her secondary fire sometimes. But in my opinion, all 3 of her abilities either need a lot of work or just need to be changed, and her Flash Grenade is no exception. It just doesn't really do enough. Granted, it has actually gotten better, but it still just doesn't do enough. The Officer class's Flash Grenade is genuinely better, and that's all I really think I need to say. If an infantry ability is better than an identical hero ability, then you know that there is a problem there. And much like Boba Fett's Concussion Rocket, I use it just because it's there, not because it's really going to do anything. Even though, like I said, it has been improved, but it is still not up to par. Now, you can use star cards to turn her flashbang into something like Rey's Insight ability, revealing enemies. But the thing is, you have to know where they are to flash grenade them. So it's kind of pointless really, so even her star cards can't really save this ability. And much like her Squad Shield, this is the ability that's caused so many players to ask for a Leia buff, or just some general reworking for her abilities, because Leia's Flash Grenade, it's pretty useless. But that of course leaves only one, and coming in as the worst ability in Battlefront 2 in my opinion is Phasma's Staff Strikes. Now I'm not going to lie to you guys, I originally didn't have this at number 1, but when I was trying to get Phasma gameplay for this video, the Staff Strikes just kept giving me a headache beyond belief. Now granted, they have actually gotten better over time, but let's be real, they are still pretty bad. The animation is just horrendous, and I know the point of the Staff Strikes is to use them when people are stunned inside your droid, but even then, it's just not that effective and you could just shoot them for the same amount of damage, like with your blaster. It's kind of like they didn't have any idea what they wanted to do for Phasma's third ability, and they just saw that she had a staff in the Last Jedi promo images and were like, yep, that'll do lads. And then they just went and threw it in there. Because Phasma's Staff Strikes have been widely regarded as one of the worst hero abilities since she came out not long after Battlefront 2's release. And I still think despite the changes that have been made to improve this ability, it still falls incredibly short for me. And I honestly think that you're just better off using Phasma and just not using the Staff Strikes, as the animation, like I said, it's not great and it can get you killed. So guys, those were the top 10 worst hero abilities in Battlefront 2. Obviously, this is just my opinion, but I imagine most people, or at least people who have played the game a fair bit, will probably understand why these abilities are in this video. Obviously, this is just my opinion, but I imagine most people, or at least people who have played the game a fair bit, will understand why these abilities are in this video. Granted, you can get good use out of some of these abilities, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, I'd say most people would genuinely consider these as some of the worst in the entire game. Now, if you guys want me to do a best hero abilities in Battlefront 2 video, then be sure to drop a like and let me know in the comments below. That one will actually be pretty damn hard to do because there are a ton of really good hero abilities in this game. But yeah, if you guys do want to see that, then let me know down in the comments. And if you did go on to enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like to show your support, and if you are new around here, then be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Battlefront 2 content. But that is going to do it for this video, so thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all again next time.